Here's my official townhome report, which gives you inventory supply in different price groups and an overall supply in different quadrants of the city. As a seller, you really want to know what's happening in your quadrant. As a buyer, you want to know if it's a good time to make a great buy.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. So for townhomes, we had 67 townhomes sell in the inner city in September, and those were sold at $319 a square foot on the median, where most of the buyers were buying, and $332 on the average, and the average sale price was $421. Now, if we look at the August sales and how that compares, there was more sales in August than there was in September, and the prices were a little bit better in September than they were, in August than they were in September. And when we go on to the previous year, 48 sales in that time period, and they were selling at $315 a foot. So we're looking at about a $15 or almost well, actually not even $15, actually just $5 a square foot more than the previous year for townhomes. And so the numbers are very, very similar when you look at last year's sales as far as the price per square foot. But even the price is not very far off where it was last year. That's kind of an interesting anomaly compared to everything else in every other market. Now, when we look at the inventory supply, 67 sold listings. Now we look at 160 active listings. So there's more than 2 months supply left on the market for October. And look at the prices of this. The prices here are we're selling at $332, and the active listings are at $384 to $397. So what we've got on the market for townhomes is quite a remarkable, where the buyers are really looking to buy. They're looking to buy between $395 and $427, and look what's on the market. It's all the higher price stuff. So it might be difficult for townhome buyers to find these kinds of properties. There's probably not a lot of inventory in that group. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. So in the northwest, 69 sold listings in the month of September, and they were selling at between $282 and $284 a square foot. Now, when we look at the previous month, 80 sold listings in that month, in the 291 square foot price range, and so prices were just a little bit better in August, and there was more sales than in September. So when we compared that to last year, 58 sold listings last year, and of course those prices were much lower than they are this year. 257 was where most of the buyers were buying per square foot, and they were buying properties at $312 on the median for the most part, and so that's gone up a little bit over $15,000 more. Now when we look at what's available on the market, 107 listings, so there's about a third more available. So there's not too many townhomes available up in the northwest. We've got some high-end stuff which maybe would raise the market average, but when we look at where the buyers or the sellers are asking between $288 and $310, and the buyers were looking at properties priced at $288.29 to $289, which means that that's pretty much in line with what should be on the market. So sales may continue quite good there, and as well we've got the properties priced at between $330 and $377. So there's still inventory up there for the buyers in that market. Of course, there's a few more listings available over a month's supply, so it's a really good market, kind of a balanced market up there. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. So in the southwest, 37 sold listings up there, and they were priced between $315 and $339 for the townhomes up there, and they sold in 31 days. Now when we look at how that compares to the previous month, 36 sales, that's about the same, and the prices were a little bit less last month than they are this month, and the market average might have been increased by this sale right here, which sold at $568 a square foot. That can raise the average up. So when we look at the previous year, 32 sales, and that's very similar. But the price is not 204 to 216 a square foot, so things are definitely up there. Now we look at the inventory supply. Well, we got 37 sold listings last month and 41 available listings. That's very, very close. But the available inventory is between 350 and 365 a foot, and it's much bigger. So the prices are 478 to 553, what they're asking, and where the buyers were looking to buy townhomes, it was 419 to 417. So no inventory for the buyers up there. And if you want to buy something, it's likely priced higher than where you're really at. So the inventory is just not matching what the buyers are looking for. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenzie Town, all these south areas. Now down south, there was 87 sold listings in September, and they sold between 274 and 280, and that was per square foot. And last month, 273 to 276 the previous month. So it's very, very similar in price, and everything's pretty similar to the previous month, even the sales numbers. But last year, 68 listings in the same period, so slightly less sales, and price between 239 and 248, which means it's quite a bit up from where it was last year. Now we look at the inventory supply for the area: 87 active listings and 87 sold listings. So there's exactly a month's supply down there, and the inventory is priced between 287 and 291, where the heaviest group is 287, and the buyers were looking for property between 281 and 285. So it's slightly off, and where the properties where they were buying between 328 and 332, and the properties are just skating a little bit higher. So if you're people that are tight on their budget will not be able to go through over 350. There's no properties available, little available for them, and of course everything there is a little bit bigger. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. So up in the northeast, we had 43 sales in September, and they were priced between 240-38, and that's a really close match. So everything was, the highest weight of the buyers was 240, and that's where the average was. That's usually a rare sign. But 39 sold listings in August, 43 in September, so a little bit better for them. And 227 was the price last month, and 240. So things are definitely looking a little bit better. Now, when we look at the previous year, we're looking at 32 sold listings in the period, so about 8 more, and prices definitely have gone up since then. Now, when we look at available inventory supply, 96 available listings, almost or better than 2 months supply, so it's a little bit better for the buyer down there. The prices, though, the prices they're asking are actually quite in line with where the buyer is expecting, because everything that sold was priced at 247 to 246, and what's available out there is 244 to 251. And the price points are actually pretty reasonably close, which means that it should continue to be strong up there for sales. Having said that, there's lots for people to choose from. So as a seller, you've got to make sure you're fairly competitive in that market. Okay, so this is the total condominiums, including apartments and townhomes, actually. And this is just condominiums for the city of Calgary. This is the whole list here included. Now, the dark lines are what sold last month, and the lighter colored lines are what's currently available. And you'll see that in a couple groups are really close. We've got up to 200,000. I mean, there's not much room for a buyer there. There's very close to being as many sold as there was available now. And this market has remained, there's about a third, actually looks like almost double the amount of properties available between 200 and 250. And the closer race is really between 250 and 300. We have 174 sales in that section. Now, when we look at how that compared to the previous month, we can see that the sales in that section were way, way up because we had about 35 more sales in September than we did in August. So that really brought the average up. And in some groups, we actually sold. Looks like we sold about the same or less. So when I look at, so we sold more, and we sold more in the lower end group in August in the 200 to 250 group than we sold in this 250,000 in September. And looks like we just got one group that's really up in sales, and that's that 250 to 300, and there was 30 extra homes, townhomes, and condos sold in that time period.
Since the year 2000, I've sold hundreds of homes all over the city. I can help you, and remember, as always, commissions are negotiable.